Let's talk about mental health. Mental health is increasingly important and something none of us like to address. Are you feeling stuck, or does your mind having you dressing sharp but feeling dull? Perhaps it's time to talk to a life coach. Meet fellow WWE podcast listening and wrestling fan Steve from A Damn Healthy Dose of Coaching. Steve is a certified ADHD life coach, and getting you unstuck is what he does, period. Working together, he will come up with strategies and provide you with the tools you need to set you on the way. Follow at Damn Healthy Dose on Instagram or X, or visit damnhealthydose.com. You can also email Steve, S-T-E-E-V, at damnhealthydose.com directly for a free 30-minute consultation. Mention this podcast, and Steve will provide you with the first 2 sessions for free to see if life coaching is a fit for you. Again, visit damnhealthydose.com.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me. Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the WWE Podcast. Here we are going to be talking about Monday Night Raw that took place last night. A lot to discuss as we are now just a little over 2 weeks away from the Royal Rumble that comes to us live. And we have a brand new co-host here tonight to discuss Monday Night Raw with us. This is Krisy from Tennessee. She is a WWE fan, obviously, but she has her own podcast. We'll get into that. And I just want to say, Krisy, how you doing? And welcome to the show.
Hi, Matt. Thank you for having me. I'm excited, and it's been fun actually getting to know you, just being a podcast listener for the past few months.
Well, thank you very much. And we were talking off air about how you actually found me, and my shameless promotional efforts have paid off, as you saw my sign on Raw on Monday night a few weeks back here up in Albany, New York. So yay, go me, right?
It worked.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you here. It's really nice, first of all, to have a female voice, but also somebody that actually loves the product and is bringing their family into it. You have a son who is being brought into this, and you said he dressed up as The Rock for Halloween.
Every year, actually, since he has been born. So for the past 8 years of his life, he has dressed up as some version of The Rock, whether it's, the Dwayne Johnson version of some actor or, the WWE version of The Rock. I think my favorite costume that he has so far was probably year 2 or 3, where he was the turtleneck fanny pack version of The Rock. I think 4, he was like the VMA version of The Rock, where it was like in the early, when it was peak Attitude Era, and The Rock had on this god awful gold vest and like matching gold pants. So that was another favorite. So my first child has not had an option. Since he was born and I found out I was having a boy, I was like, oh, okay, you're going to be a wrestling fan.
There's no choice. I've said the same thing about my 5-year-old son. I said, look, there's really no choice here. At some point, I'm going to introduce it to him, and just kind of soften my wife about, hey, listen, it's not real violence, and so I'm working on it. He's 5, so we're right at that cusp now. And so now that you have The Rock back, kind of, he must be so excited, and I'm imagining he saw his return.
It was like we were all screaming. So the first return, which was that random SmackDown, we were losing our minds. Like, I wish we had a camera on us. I was screaming. Like, my friends know that The Rock is just everything to me. So all of my friends were calling me, they're like, "Are you just dying?" And I'm like, "I'm crying, actually." So but that was just such a tease. We were like, I don't know what this means. He's like, is he coming? Do we get to see him? And I was like, I don't think so, buddy. I think that was a one-off. And then now with this second return, I'm like, what organ do I have to sell to make it to Mania? Like, how can I afford this trip if this happens at Mania? So fingers crossed. I know a lot of fans are hoping for or thinking about Elimination Chamber. And I'm just like, no, please don't. Please be at Mania.
I know, and that debate, has been raging on social media ever since he returned, and there's really, several different opinions, different schools of thought that you could take on this one, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But before we get into the actual product right now, I just have a couple more things to ask you. Number one, how did you get into wrestling?
I am a child of the Attitude Era, so I grew up watching wrestling. It wasn't from my dad didn't watch it, but I had cousins who watched it, and it was it's such a core memory of my childhood because we would all get our allowance money together to pay for, at the time it was the pay-per-views where you had to pay money to watch them. And my aunt who lived down the street was the only one who had access to it. So we'd chip in all our money to go to her house and watch these pay-per-views. So I'm a child of the Attitude Era, and I kept up my love for wrestling up until I got to college where it, and I hated it because that was like peak with, Randy Orton and Batista. So I missed some of that section when I was in college. But then towards the end of college, that's, now, fast forward now, where was the Total Divas. And that's kind of what got me hooked back, actually, was watching that show because I'm a reality TV buff. I love the Housewives and all those shows. So when I saw that it was a reality TV show about something that I was super familiar with and that I loved, I was like, oh, I've got to learn more about this. So that's what pulled me back in. And I've been stuck ever since then. When I had my son, it was like, this is just going to be part of the memories I make with him, just like I had with my childhood. So yeah. And I've loved to see the journey of where women have come compared to when I was watching it as a kid, where that was, the era of the bra and panties match. And now where, the women are headlining these PLEs and they're making a huge difference in the industry. I'm like, oh, I love this journey for the women in wrestling. And I just hope it progresses and gets better. I don't see it going back to what it was, thank God. But that's kind of where I am with wrestling.
That's awesome because everyone has their own journey, their own kind of love, sometimes hate relationship with wrestling, but we all seem to come back. Even if people take some time off, and you took off some during the Ruthless Aggression era, missing some of the Brock Lesnar era and Randy Orton and that whole class of John Cena. And I'm sure you saw John Cena. He's been here for 20 years, but you missed a chunk of time that, of course, you could catch up on at any time. But it's always cool to hear how people get into it, what brings them back, and what keeps them here now. And I think we're really now in a good space as wrestling fans, probably the best we've been since Ruthless Aggression. One more thing about wrestling I have to ask. What are some of your favorite memories of wrestling, even if it is something recent, or in your childhood, something that you come back to and you're like, man, I could watch this moment, over and over?
Probably, I would say there's two. One, I'll go with the recent one where I was able to take my son to his first live, like in person. We got to see the Raw that was in Memphis, and just being able to see it through his eyes. I had to stop myself from crying because it was just so cool to see him soaking up something that we're both so passionate about. So I'm loving that that's going to be something that we do. Anytime they're going to be in Memphis or Nashville, we're going, and that's going to be memories that I make with him because I had those same memories growing up when I was a kid. My aunt would always take me to any of the live events that would come close to town. And I specifically remember my first one. It was peak DX era. Triple H was the love of my life. I love Triple H. I still do. Triple H means everything to me. I love him so much. But as a child, we had really good seats. And I remember when he walked the ramp and as he was coming closer to the ring, that feeling as a fan, as a child, it was so cool to witness and to see him. So I will always remember that moment. I wish that this was before the day and age of cell phones and capturing video, but I'm like, I wish I had that moment on video.
Mm-hmm. Now, those are the ones that stick with you. Like you mentioned at the beginning, it's a core memory. It's part of who you are almost, especially as part of your childhood. It really attaches itself to you. And luckily now we're in a space and time and where we can just go back and watch these moments over and over with YouTube or with the network or with Peacock. It's really, we're spoiled as fans because from where we were, I'm sure you remember at least I remember taking a VHS and having to record
Yes.
Raw and trying to skip the commercials.
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
yes. I remember SmackDown always, it was elementary, middle school, and SmackDown always came on when I had a basketball game to cheer at. And I would have to be like, Mom, don't forget to put the tape in and record it. I don't want to miss it. And one moment that I remember on VHS that I remember watching was the Triple H Stephanie McMahon's wedding, where Triple H came in and ruined it with the Vegas wedding. I will always remember watching that because it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching it on VHS and I'm like, no.
And that's one of the most iconic moments of Raw of all time. I mean, it's so that's a pretty good one that you remember. And I have one. Actually, I've never shared this before on air. I just probably because I haven't thought about it. Now that we're talking about VHSs, I remember I think I was like 13, 14 years old, and I was like, I got to record Raw. I didn't have any tapes in my house, living obviously with my parents at that age. And I'm like, I don't have anything. I throw a tape and a VHS, and I'm like, I don't know what this one is, but I'll hit record. So it recorded Monday Night Raw. I take the tape out, and on the tape, it has my baby tapes from my brother and I. It's all these family memories that were on a VHS that you can't get back. And I'm like, oh crap. And I'm just like, I can't tell my mom. And I was just like, this better be the best episode of Raw of all time. So I accidentally recorded over things you can never get back. So yeah, I mean, the struggles of, the late 90s, early 2000s are real, guys. I mean,
kids will never understand.
Never, ever. I mean, the flip phone era and all that stuff. But we remember a time before Facebook, before social media, really a simpler time in a lot of ways. So, but all right. Well, one more thing before we get going here. I know that you're also a fellow podcaster and you have your own company. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I own a wedding planning firm, which it's so funny, wedding planning and wrestling. How do those two mix? They just do. That's my weird personality there. So I own my own wedding planning company. And on top of that, we have a wedding planning podcast called the Wedding Planner Podcast. I am an educator and the vice president of a company called the CWP Society, which stands for Certified Wedding Planner or Certified Wedding Pro. And so I educate and teach on my podcast, which is geared towards wedding planners.
That's awesome. So guys, go check it out. The Wedding Planner Podcast. And that's available on, I know you have Buzzsprout, but I imagine it's also on Apple and all kind of the big platforms.
Yes. All of the platforms, wherever you get your podcast, that's where you'll find it.
Well, very good. That's awesome. So guys, go check that out. But now it's time to dive into pro wrestling and specifically this past week's Monday Night Raw. And, when you look at it, it wasn't as epic, obviously, as last week with The Rock. It's really tough to top that one. But I think we got a pretty noteworthy version of Raw. We saw a lot of confrontations. This was a very confrontational Raw. You had Nia Jax. You had CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. You had, obviously had the match with Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke. When you look at this Raw, I'll let this one be your stage here. What do you look at from this past Monday Night Raw last night? And it's the first thing you think about from Monday Night Raw that you want to talk about.
The first thing that stood out to me, and this is going to be so silly, but it literally, I'm still thinking about it and laughing. And that's the R-Truth promo with the video. And
yes.
Oh my God, R-Truth, give this man an Emmy already. The way that he acts, his humor, he's so good that you almost believe him. I'm like, I know that this man is acting because he's so good. And I'm the kind of person where, to be quite honest, the comedy side of wrestling embarrasses me. I get secondhand embarrassment easy. And that is typically how the comedy section of wrestling is for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, fast forward, please stop. Y'all are embarrassing me. I cannot. I get sweaty and hot. But with R-Truth, it's none of that. I mean, because he's so good. He is chef's kiss. He's so good. And that was absolutely hilarious. My favorite part of the video was the graphic where it was Rhea when she won the Rumble and he's ducking from the fireworks.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
And then of course the Dominic Mysterio and
yeah.
God. And we're going to those, I think it's going to be SmackDown in March in Memphis. And I'm praying that by then they have the shirts with the R-Truth, sticker at the bottom. Cause I'm I would pay for that. If they haven't yet made those shirts, I hope it's done by then. But
that,
oh my God. With that, no progression to Rumble. It was nothing. And I just thought that was so funny. I'm still thinking about it.
It's imminently rewatchable, that segment. And like you said, comedy's hard as it is. Like, comedy's very difficult to do. I'm not saying it's easy, but WWE, they don't have a great set of comedians, and nor should they. And like you said, when they attempt comedy, and really any wrestling promotion attempts comedy, it usually comes off pretty poorly. It's one of those segments usually that they, you look at and you're like, thank God I'm alone. Like, if I was with somebody and they were looking at you and saying, you watch this stuff, I would feel, like you said, it's embarrassing. Like, sometimes the food fights, or honestly, I love John Cena, but when John Cena tries to be funny, it's usually the worst thing in the world. John Cena as a serious character, I love, but like, there are certain things that I just, like you said, it's usually very bad, but R-Truth is a national treasure. R-Truth needs to be protected. I mean, like, R-Truth needs to run for president. I love this guy. He is a guy that you look at and you're like, why haven't we seen more of this? I know he's 50 some years old, but he doesn't act like it in the ring. He genuinely feels like he is the guy he's playing on TV. He's just this kind of oblivious but lovable guy that is in his own reality that we're all just being a part of. And that video needs to be up for some kind of Emmy. Whoever put this together, it was brilliant. I haven't laughed out loud at a wrestling segment on purpose in a long time. And this segment, this whole thing with R-Truth and the Judgment Day, I hope it continues as long as it possibly can. I have no idea what the end game is, but I'm with you on this one.
I'm wondering, I'm like, where are they going with this? Well, I don't even care because it's so funny. And I love even too, like when the next scene was with Judgment Day and like Priest was laughing. You can see Dominic was laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny. It's just entertaining. And he is a national treasure. Put him up there with Dolly Parton. R-Truth is phenomenal.
I agree. It was brilliant. I don't know what more to say about R-Truth. The crowd just connects with him organically. So yeah, that's a nice way to start off the conversation here with R-Truth and the Judgment Day. That was just even exceeded my own expectations. It seems to be getting better by the week. And I'm probably, after this conversation, going to go rewatch it. It's that good. But all right, well, I guess let's move on here to something a little more serious, and it's Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And this whole deal with Drew McIntyre, he's been on a pretty bad losing streak, especially with championship matches. I was of the belief his character was going to go darker and just into the abyss, and he'd come back as this raging monster, and that all light would be completely vanquished from his character. And he took still more of a calm approach, but he mentioned, hey, maybe I should leave for 9 years and come back with a hero's welcome. CM Punk came out, took not too kindly to his words. How did you enjoy or like or maybe dislike this interaction with Drew and CM Punk?
I'm with you. I 100% agree with you when it comes to Drew's character. Like, at this point, loss after loss, I feel like he needs, like you said, he needs to go dark. There needs to be some aggression to this frustration that he's feeling. And I'm not really I'm seeing a glimpse of it, but I feel like I want Drew just to be heavy with it and just to be angry about everything that's been happening to him. And with Punk, I'm one of those people, I'm not a huge Punk fan. I get his appeal. I was excited when, he came back. That was a fun pop and a fun moment. But what Punk is really known for are his promos. And I feel like I have not seen a promo that he's done yet so far with his new run that I have been impressed by or that I even really remember. And I felt like their interaction, what Punk brought to the table was not memorable. And that's usually what he's known for. And I felt like it was a little lackluster. I don't know. And I did love how Punk mentioned that his goal is to throw Drew out last at the Rumble. And I do believe that's going to happen. I think the final three in the Rumble will probably be Cody, Punk, and Drew. And that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Because I don't even know who I want to win the Rumble. And I thought I had an idea when I was hoping Randy would be in it. But now that he's going to be in that fatal four-way with Roman, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I continue to say this on my show, it becomes very confusing very quickly because there are so many options. And honestly, there's a lot of good options. There are a few bad options. So it's almost like WWE can't screw this up. Famous last words, but it seems like they can't screw this up because there are so many good options, some really good options, some good options, and there are some bad ones. But there are a lot of them. With scenarios and multi-man matches, and this person can win the Rumble, but then that one wins the Elimination Chamber, so they can still get an opportunity at the belt at WrestleMania. So there's just a lot going on. And this particular promo with Punk and McIntyre was, number one, it was new. So I like that. I mean, because Punk and McIntyre haven't, to my recollection, had a face-to-face, in-person, lengthy promo that I can recall. So this was fun to see what these two would say to each other. And the line of the night, beyond him saying at the end that he was going to throw out McIntyre last, was that when push comes to shove, he's not just a demon, he's Satan himself. And I'm like, okay, all right, here we go. Things are getting dark. And I'm ready for Punk to stop talking and start doing stuff in the ring. I know he's known for talking, and he's a good talker. He can't have an A+ promo every time. He's not going to have a historic promo every time. It's not reasonable to assume that. But I'm ready for Punk to start actually doing things, getting in brawls. I'm ready for him to start getting physical in the ring. Not that I'm bored by his character, but I think it's finally time to take it to the next stage for him.
Yeah, I agree. And something that made me think of you that did not happen at the entrance or the start of Raw was there was no welcome to Monday Night.
Yes.
And I was like, Matt is going to love this.
Other than the only thing which actually I'm okay with is having Rollins say "Welcome to Monday Night Rollins." I'm cool with that, even though I think it's a bad catchphrase. I never like that, but I'll accept it because it's tied to his character. It's what he's always said, and it wasn't at the beginning of Raw. So yes. I was very excited to see it. Maybe they're having like discussions and Zoom meetings about it this week. Like, damn it, guys, we forgot. Well, next week we're going to say it twice. So I did notice, and I'm glad you brought that up because I would have totally forgot to say that. But yes, round of applause for WWE. And if it was intentional or not, I was very happy to see that. But all right. So anything else on? I don't want to cut you off. But anything else on Punk and McIntyre before we get to the next segment here?
No, I'm excited to see where they take them as we go into WrestleMania season.
Yes, me too. Finn Balor and Tommaso Ciampa here. This one was 8 minutes and 15 seconds to be exact, and Ciampa ended up beating Finn Balor. What did you? What was your takeaway from Ciampa taking out Finn Balor?
I loved the walking and talking promo that he did as he was like walking to the ring. I thought that was pretty cool and different. I'm still wondering, at this point, I'm like, okay, it's 2024. Is there a reason why the tag team champs still have two belts? Like, I'm still confused there when it comes to the two of them. But, I love Judgment Day. Judgment Day, they're one of my favorite factions. I love to watch them. So from a fan's perspective, I hate to see them going through this where I feel like it's a back and forth of them doing really good and then them losing and them fighting among the family. And so though I wasn't surprised by Finn losing. I feel like they are trying to build up some type of program for the tag team belts. It's needed. So I'm excited to see where this goes for sure.
No, I'm with you. I mean, the Judgment Day as a whole, well, first of all, yes, this match specifically was fine. I mean, it was nothing that anyone's going to come out of there going, oh man, that was the match of the night. But you have two professional guys who put on a good match, and you had, I think, the right guy win with Tommaso Ciampa. As you like said, the Judgment Day, they are a staple of Monday Night Raw, but they've been on a bit of a losing streak. And I don't think that that's been lost on Rhea Ripley, who continues to say, we need to figure this out. What's going on? So there have been fractures that kind of show themselves here and there in the Judgment Day. I'm not ready for this group to split. But Rhea, who's the unannounced and unofficial leader of the group, continues to try to guide the group in the right direction and give orders and make deals with GMs. And I really like Rhea as the unofficial leader of the group. But you're right. The promo that Ciampa did was something that I don't know if I've seen. I don't want to say ever because that's maybe an overstatement, but it's been a long time since that kind of promo was done where they're walking to the ring and cutting the promo and not just standing backstage talking to Kayla Braxton or whoever. That was just a nice touch, and one that I'm wondering if Kevin Dunn, who was recently, I would say he took his own, or he actually resigned, but I think he was more or less fired. He was the TV producer, or the lead TV producer, and he was one that I think kind of kept things in line. And I don't know if this is one of the changes that was implemented after Kevin Dunn left. Let's talk about mental health. Mental health is increasingly important and something none of us like to address. Are you feeling stuck, or does your mind having you dressing sharp but feeling dull? Perhaps it's time to talk to a life coach. Meet fellow WWE podcast listening and wrestling fan Steve from A Damn Healthy Dose of Coaching. Steve is a certified ADHD life coach, and getting you unstuck is what he does, period. Working together, he will come up with strategies and provide you with the tools you need to set you on the way. Follow at Damn Healthy Dose on Instagram or X, or visit damnhealthydose.com. You can also email Steve, STEEV, at damnhealthydose.com directly for a free 30-minute consultation. Mention this podcast, and Steve will provide you with the first 2 sessions for free to see if life coaching is a fit for you. Again, visit damnhealthydose.com.
I love it. It felt organic. It felt like in reality, when you were getting ready to go fight someone, you're talking crap on the way to go fight them. So it felt organic. It felt natural. It didn't feel as staged as a normal interview style promo goes. So I loved it. I thought it was fun and different.
And that's the kind of thing that I think we'll see with this, with obviously Kevin Dunn gone, and the Vince McMahon people are starting to be weeded out a bit. You'll see these, and this is what I'm looking for, is not total 180 change. I don't want 180 change, but just these little things like the promo, like stopping Welcome Us to Monday Night Raw, things that are easily fixable, that aren't going to completely revolutionize the product, but when you add them in totality, it really adds up to more of a fresh feeling, like you said, an organic feeling. So I thought this was a nice match, the right finish, and obviously the promo I would agree I liked. Now we have let's see here. I don't know how many segments I want to go through here. I don't want to make this a 4-hour show. The next match on the card anyway, though, was Kofi Kingston versus Ludwig Kaiser. This was actually left off of the Hulu version of Raw. If you watch the Hulu version like myself, you have to go to YouTube to watch this. But Kingston did end up, and Kaiser ended up in a double countout in 8 minutes and 45 seconds. And then after the match, Kingston hit Kaiser with a suicide dive, threw punches at him, and Kaiser gouged Kingston's eye until Kingston pushed him away. And then Kaiser charged Kingston, who backdropped him over the broadcast table. And the referees and producers tried to stop Kingston, who got by them. So this got very violent towards the end in a way that I didn't really see coming. Kingston, who's really known for kind of the happy-go-lucky character, I mean, this took a turn towards the end.
Yeah, it was unexpected. Like, the match was it was, so. It wasn't anything, over the top, but the end is what stood out to me. That's what I remember, is how violent it got and the aggression between the two of them. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens maybe, are they able to do a tag team, or do you think they'll probably stick with just the single between the two of them? Or, are they going to say, Kingston's injured and he's going to be out for a while, what that's going to look like? I know Gunther's coming back next week. So I feel like this is just he's going to sing his praises for how he was aggressive and ruthless when it came to taking care of Kingston.
Yeah, and I don't know how much longer, honestly, the Imperium group is going to be together. They have really shown some serious cracks in the foundation week after week after week. And I don't know. I mean, are they really adding anything to Gunther anymore? I don't know. I mean, Gunther's doing, I think, just fine on his own, and has been doing just fine on his own for, at this point, years. So I have no issue if they ended up splitting, but you could end up having a kind of a small mini feud here with Imperium continuing to feud with the with the New Day. I was going to say Judgment Day, but the New Day. And you keep hearing about Big E floating around out there. I mean, I don't know if Big E is going to be returning or not returning, but I mean, he could eventually come back and even the odds in a 3-on-3 Imperium versus New Day matchup. But overall, this was just nice to see Kofi Kingston doing something other than just making inside jokes backstage. Or being the spokesperson for like Cheetos during a PLE. That's a good thing.
And I'm wondering if they're doing this because we know what Kofi does at Rumbles. If they're trying to reintroduce us to Kofi, who is a wrestler, and what an amazing job he does at Rumbles, if they're trying to have us forget about, him being the spokesperson for Lay's. And he is, in fact, a wrestler, and he does wrestle as we lead up to Rumble, even though obviously he's not going to win. I feel like every year he does these weird things to stay in the ring, and yet I'm like, you're not going to win.
I know.
I hate it for you. Good try.
Well, that's just it. I mean, for Kofi, it's kind of it's a bit of a double-edged sword there, because people look at Kofi every year, like you said, and they're like, "Oh, what's he going to do to stay out?" But but eventually get eliminated. Like you said, they just look at him and they just look at him as like, dance for me, clown, and just do this one trick to stay in the Rumble. But then, you'll get eliminated. Like, I don't know, if I was Kofi, I don't know if I'd love or hate that. Like, you're known for that in the Rumble, but wouldn't you at some point want to be taken seriously enough to think you're a contender to win the damn thing? So I don't know. I'm torn on it, but it is every year interesting to see how they come up with something to keep Kofi in. But all right. Well, moving on here, we got Michael Cole in the ring, who introduced Nia Jax, said she was one of the favorites to win the Rumble, and then Nia Jax comes out and she mocked Cole. She mocked Cole for not thinking that she would break Becky's face again. Rhea Ripley comes out and really got a big babyface reaction here. I mean, I know Rhea's not a babyface, but man, they could just blink and she would be beloved. She's already beloved by the fans. It's the fans have to be like re-educated every week to be like, we're not ready yet. You should still hate her, but the fans are ready. The fans are ready to embrace her, and we see it every week. But we got this nice face-off here with Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. What is your take on this?
I love it. And it's so funny that Nia, when Michael Cole, he said something along the lines of him being surprised. And my first thought was, why? And as I was out loud saying why, Nia said the same thing. I'm like, why would you be surprised that she beat Becky? Look at her. She's a beast. And I'm loving seeing the growth and the improvement from Nia, because initially when she came back, her promos were uncomfortable. I got that secondhand embarrassment, even though she wasn't trying to be funny. It was just, she just wasn't doing as well. But each week, I feel like she's progressing better and better. And I'm loving to hate her each week. So I think it'll be interesting. And I know when Becky was interviewed early in the night, she had somewhat mentioned that it didn't seem like it was done with her and Nia. But now that we add Rhea into the mix, what's going to play out between, I'm hoping, the three of them. I know it's hard though with Nia, because when I think about, what was it, Crown Jewel, where she was in the ring with other women and she looked so bad compared to all of them. But I think if it's Becky and if it's Rhea and it's not, one additional person, that it could be a fun match. But I don't know what that leads towards, because I don't want the Becky and Nia feud to end yet, because I was pleasantly surprised by how phenomenal their match was last week. And I love what they're doing. So I hope that doesn't fade. And at some point, I mean, Becky and Rhea at some point they have to cross paths. I'm always wondering why. I feel like Becky hasn't mentioned the championship. She hasn't mentioned wanting to go against Rhea. And I'm like, why? If you're calling yourself the top of the company, you have to have the belt. And I get it. She is one of the top faces of the company in the women's division, but she doesn't hold the belt. So I feel like that automatically puts Rhea above you, because, Rhea is just as beloved as you are, but she's carrying the gold. So I'll be interested to see if they bring Becky into the mix with the Nia Jax feud also.
I will be the first one to say I have not been a Nia Jax fan. It's no secret. I think she has been. Before this program, I was just kind of down on her. She didn't seem, like you said, she felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And she, didn't. She's not as mobile in the ring, which I've never really hated. I think that's actually can be an asset, because I don't need everyone to flip flop and fly. I mean, I don't need, having somebody that wrestles differently, I think is a good thing in today's style of wrestling for men and women that all kind of feels the same in a way. Everyone has generally the same move sets other than their finishes and signature moves, and so when you have these bigger men or bigger women, I think it's a good thing to have, because it immediately differentiates them, and they are an immediate threat because they're so much bigger. Yeah. And this program here with Becky has reinvigorated not just Nia, who has done I got to give her credit. I haven't been a fan, but she's starting to change my mind because it's like a light switch went on with her. It's all of a sudden she just kind of like found herself, found her voice. She hasn't been exactly Ric Flair on the mic, but she has been, I mean, like a different character, more comfortable. And she kind of feels like she knows who she is in the ring now. And she has really put on nice matches with Becky. One like last week when she won outright, fair and square, beat Becky Lynch. That shocked everybody, at least in terms of when we say shock people, it's because Becky Lynch is a much bigger star and you think, oh, she'll pull it off. No way that Nia can beat her. But when you look at the physical size difference, I mean, anybody that didn't know anything about the characters would go, oh, well, Nia Jax would kill her. It's only because of the character that you look at it and go, no way Nia can win this. But I'm all with you here on the Nia Jax kind of evolution that has sped up quickly. And I would imagine Rhea Ripley, though, and Becky are going to cross paths. It's been too long. I still believe Becky's probably the favorite to win and challenge Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. But Nia Jax will be, I think the final woman eliminated in the Rumble.
I think so, too. And it's so interesting. And this kind of ties into the women's tag match. But at some point they were having the camera backstage with all the women backstage. So I'm like counting because I'm trying to think, it's 30 women. So I'm like, okay, how many women are in the locker room? So making sure we have enough women for this, who they're going to bring in. And the women's Rumble always makes me anxious and nervous because I'm like, do we have enough talent to make up these 30 women where it's going to be, a phenomenal thing to watch. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Well, that's it. And I mentioned this, I think last night. I said that, that is the concern every year. Like, I've obviously no issue with the women having the Royal Rumble. I think it's a necessity now at this point. It's not just because, the men have it, we should have it. No, it's a necessity. It has built itself into the fabric of the women's division. It's something you need to have now. But I look at this every year and I'm like, how many filler spots, how many cameos are we going to have in the women's Rumble to fill out the number of 30? Instead of actually having the talent of today who are showing up to compete. Okay. You'll have the Molly Hollies of the world and the Jacquelines of the world from yesteryear and, pulling out Tori Wilson or whoever. And it's cool for in the moment, but you're also looking at this kind of sadly going, this is a bit of a referendum on the current depth of the women's division, or at least how WWE views the women's division. That they don't feel like they have enough star power, so they have to bring in these older talent that have zero chance of winning, and it's just to get to that number 30. So I hope every year that I don't mind nostalgic spots. That happens in the men's Rumble. It's fun having those surprise nostalgia spots, but over the last, especially in the first few women's Royal Rumbles, it was just a complete crutch that I felt like it was not a good look for the women's division. So I hope as we move forward that there's less of that and more of the women of today that get the spotlight.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I know it's because the roster with NXT, which I don't watch NXT, unfortunately, but I know we'll probably see a lot pulled from there. So that'll be interesting. But, it's hard because I don't watch it. So I can't get excited for them yet. So maybe between now and Rumble, I'll start watching NXT just to get an idea of the women and who will possibly make an appearance at the Rumble.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I mean, it's just simply, it's not out of disrespect. Like, I just don't have the time. I mean, like
there's only so many hours in the day. And
I know. Yeah, I know. Look, you have kids. I have kids. We got work. We got life. We got expenses. We got, everything else, so it's just difficult. But hey, I think it is a good idea if you and I and others who are looking at this and going, who could come up from the NXT roster? And if you don't know anyone from the NXT roster and you're watching the Rumble, you're going to go, who cares? But maybe if we spend a little time and you just figure out who's who, that it would be more interesting when the Rumble comes and we see those people come up. But all right. So moving on, though, we got a video package as expected, recapping The Rock's return and the segment with Jinder Mahal from last week, and WWE touting their records of 171 million views over the all of social media for The Rock's return, shattering all these records as expected. I mean, The Rock is literally the biggest star in the world. I don't know if anyone could name a bigger star in sports or entertainment, not sports entertainment, but literally sports, professional sports, or in the entertainment field, whether it comes to TV, movies. I don't know another name that's bigger than The Rock. I mean, he literally may be the biggest star in the world. I don't know if maybe you disagree, but I mean, he is that big.
No, I'm obsessed with The Rock. And it's so funny because some of my friends who are not familiar with the wrestling world at all, but they know how much I love and adore wrestling and love The Rock. When he came out again, I was on the phone with my friend and I'm screaming. I'm like, The Rock is back. Oh my gosh, this is happening. This is happening. He's going to be him and his cousin. Because she's like, who's Roman? I'm like, it's his cousin. Understand who these people are. So she turned it on the TV and she was like, it's so funny to see him like this because I don't know him as this person. And I'm like, that's so wild to me because he is so, well respected outside of our industry, outside of the wedding industry, the wrestling industry, that she was like, this is weird that is he like this all the time? She's like, I don't know this version of The Rock, or she kept calling him Dwayne. I was like, it's The Rock now. But he is such a huge star, and this is going to be fun. I hope they do this justice in the way that it should. And I'm with you, Matt, when you're like, there needs to be, why is he here? And it's like, obviously they're family, but some type of something needs to spark in order for this promo to really have some type of story behind it. Obviously it's going to be an amazing thing anyways. Like they can just wrestle tomorrow and I'd be fine with it. But just having that backstory, I think that's going to be fun. If they're doing promo videos about them growing up and maybe them having competition with each other, just to give some type of something to this story is going to be good. I'm just so interested to see where this goes. Literally, like if this is going to go to Elimination Chamber or this is going to go to Mania. I feel like we'll have a better idea of it after the Rumble. I hope we do, at least for my sake of wanting to see this in person, because I feel like this is going to be, for me as a lifelong Rock fan who forces my child to dress up like him for Halloween, I feel like this will be my last opportunity to see him live in a ring. And I don't want to miss it. I am willing to sell a kidney if I need to make it to Mania. But part of me is like, I don't even want to stress out about it if it's not going to happen at Mania,
And I'm with you. I mean, selling an organ is something I've teetered with as well. I've kind of toyed with that. I'm like, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. We don't need our spleens, right? I don't I know there's certain organs that are not necessary. You have 2 kidneys, maybe, like you said, maybe you can give up one. I don't know if what they're going for currently on the black market, but it is tempting. I mean, I'm up in Albany, New York. It's really not that far for me to go to Philadelphia, whether I fly or drive. It's not the worst thing in the world, and I mean, you're in Tennessee, so it's it's not across the entire country, so it is tempting. I've toyed with it too, and like you said, that's the thing is, this probably is The Rock's one of his final matches ever, if not maybe his final match ever. We really may not see The Rock wrestling. I mean, he'll come back for cameos and rock bottoms and all that kind of stuff, like The Undertaker will, like Stone Cold does, for just kind of those one-off fun segments. But when it comes to matches, this is probably The Rock's last match, I would imagine, is with Roman Reigns, and it is tempting to say, but it's right there. I know it's money, it's money and time, but I'm with you. Now, let me ask you quick before we go on to this women's tag team championship match: is how would you do it? Because with Cody in there, with Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia, and with 60,000 people there, how would you book this if you could just make this whatever you want it to be from now to WrestleMania? How would you even book this? What would Krisy's perfect road to WrestleMania be when it comes to just the championship, the Universal Championship, Cody, Rock, and Roman? How would you figure this all out?
I do think that Roman needs to lose the belt before we get to Mania, and I don't know what they're going to do with this. I don't know if they want Roman to keep it for another 2 years or however long it's going to take for him to beat Hulk's record. God, please no. And I like Roman. I don't have an issue with him other than the fact that we don't see him anymore. And it is getting to the point now where when he is on SmackDown, I'm not even excited like I used to be. And that to me was a sign of, okay, we got to switch something up with him. So I don't know. Cause I'm not, the thought of Cody finishing his story, and I'm saying this as I'm rolling my eyes, I feel, does it have to be at Mania? Like, isn't his story all about just him getting that championship, the championship that his father never had? Why does it have to happen at Mania? Like, why do we have to finish Cody's story at Mania? I'm torn here because I understand that Cody has this story to finish, and by God, he needs to finish this story in 2024, hopefully by Mania. But at the same time, I think with who The Rock is, the fact that Mania is essentially WWE's version of the Super Bowl, you have to have, your all-star star athlete who is just going to bring in that money, that income, that press, all those eyes will be The Rock. That's, to me, that makes sense financially, and I think it also makes sense with the storyline. And I'm sure Cody fans are throwing things at me right now, but I'm like, Cody can finish his story somewhere else. It doesn't have to be at Mania.
I know. That's the key is that's exactly right. His story, as he defined it by finishing it, is winning the championship his dad didn't win, the WWE championship, which has morphed into the Universal, which has morphed into the undisputed Universal WWE championship. It's the lineages of this are very muddy and murky, but it is still the one that Roman has is the one that his dad didn't win. So that's the one that he's eyeing. And I'm all for the belt being dropped from Roman at any time. I mean, I don't care who it is. I really don't care who it is at this point. And like you said, and I made this point too, I think it's important though, is now you have Roman who shows up on SmackDown and WWE tries to promote it as some kind of hook for you to watch the show. And you're like, it's like, and we used to not feel that way, but now that it's gotten to the point of indifference, that's a dangerous place to be if you're WWE, with the fans now kind of going, like shrugging their shoulders when Roman's there.
And it was, for me as a fan of him, that feeling was totally unsurprised. I was totally surprised by that. I was like, why am I not excited? Like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, I mean, at this point, it's, Roman's not the only draw to watch SmackDown anymore.
I'm with you. This is the SmackDown, and Roman has done an awesome job. I'm not taking anything away from Roman. It's just the fact that it's his presence. It's he's not there even enough for us to be like, well, he doesn't have to be here. He's not here every week, but at least he's here like a couple times a month. No, it's like he literally went from WrestleMania to SummerSlam without defending his belt. He's defended it like twice this year. I mean, now you're getting into WrestleMania again. You just take these large chunks of time and you go, well, he's not going to lose it at this pay-per-view. So that puts us all the way to Survivor Series. And well, he's not going to lose at this one. So that puts us maybe at Rumble or Mania. You just keep taking these chunks of 2 to 3 months out of the year and automatically adding it to his run. And it's becoming ridiculous. This is not Roman's fault. I praise him for getting this contract, making millions of dollars, for not having to kill your body night in and night out and do live events and be away from your family. Good for him. I'm not that he cares, but I'm proud of him, but I'd do the same damn thing. And I have no fault on him for that. It's just, as a viewer, it's so frustrating at this point where you're just becoming indifferent, and seeing him now isn't exciting. It's a reminder that he's not there. Even when he's there, it's a reminder he's not there. So, all right. Well, let's move on here. I could dive into the Rock thing. We'll learn a lot more, obviously, as the Rumble comes and goes. I think the Rock will show up there, and we'll get another step here. But moving on to the Women's Tag Team Championship match. This was Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, who took on the tag team champions of Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. I'll just quickly say I really like this match much more than I thought. And I will say that this is the kind of consistent, I don't know if representation's the word, or consistent product that the women's tag team division needs to have to legitimize those championships. I really enjoyed this match much more than I thought I would. What was your thoughts?
Same. And I love the progression of this match, because even from the tag champs, their initial entrance, the crowd was kind of dull. They were just kind of like, okay, yay. But then towards the end, as the match progressed and it built, like you could see the crowd was getting behind them. And that's how I felt watching it. Not knowing very much about the tag champs. I know they were in NXT and held the NXT tag titles for a record-breaking reign, I believe. But just seeing that progression, and that's what this tag team needs. That's what the belts, they needs this, like you said, that representation. So that way we can give a crap about who's holding the belts. Because I feel like we haven't, like, these sweet little belts, you kind of sometimes even forget that they are there, because they, go weeks and weeks without even having a tag team championship match. So I love it. I hope this is something that, even if it doesn't happen every week, at least every other week. So that way it's always in our forefront. We're always still thinking about it, and it doesn't go, up on the shelf like it typically does.
That's been the Achilles heel of it. I mean, even in the men's division to some degree, although not nearly as bad, the tag team divisions have never been a priority for WWE, and nor do I think they ever will be a consistent main event piece to the company. But they can at least be significant and feel like they are okay, second place or whatever. And this is a step in the right direction. It's encouraging for this type of match. But honestly, I mean, I'm not going to get too excited yet until I see consistency. Consistency is the one thing missing from this division, and not just good matches. I mean, I'm just asking for the bare minimum of them just being on the show or being talked about. So the fact that is the bar is pretty sad. But now that you have actual quality wrestling in a tag team title match is really where they should be on a consistent basis. So, I mean, if they continue to deliver this, or at least talk about them every week, or every other week, I'd even take, that's what we need, instead of just having whoever wins go into the abyss or sit in catering or just disappear. I mean, we've seen that before too. They literally have been cursed since day one, since Sasha Banks and Bayley won them how many years ago now, and they were introduced to the company. So
belts. Someone get some sage to those belts. Like, what is happening with these tag titles?
Like, get a shaman or something. I mean, we've got to exercise these belts. There's somebody put some kind of demonic curse on them, and we need a priest to exercise.
Probably when she left.
I know. Oh my God. So again, encouraging, but I'm not sold yet on 1 week of quality wrestling in the women's division, tag team division. It's good. It gets me optimistically excited, but I'm still hesitant. So, but again, the winners here of Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, it makes sense. But I will say, I love Chelsea Green in her character. Piper Niven is kind of the younger version of Nia Jax, if you will. I mean, she has the same body type. I don't know a whole lot about her. She moves well for her size. I just, to me, like, I enjoy Chelsea Green's character of just being this obnoxious, all in kind of complete, you know what? I mean, yeah. I enjoy it. I also miss Samantha Irvin's introduction of her name. I really miss that.
That just added to her bratty little character. So it was a perfect touch.
I know. Apparently somebody in WWE, some of the higher ups didn't give why, but apparently they've told Samantha Irvin to not do that. I think it was a great way to introduce her. And like you said, it's exactly who she is. Just by saying her name, you know who and what she is.
Yes. So you roll your eyes like, oh, here comes Chelsea.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone else follows her on like X or formerly Twitter or wherever. She's hilarious on Twitter or on social media. She just continues her character. It's great. I really enjoy Chelsea Green. So, that's again, the women's tag team division is heating up. So, all right, then we moved on here. Let's see. I'm moving on. I see some of these backstage talking segments here. Truth spoke about all the things that he had not been through with the faction. This is where that whole awesome, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the video package of Dom and Nick Mysterio. There was just whoever came up with that line needs a raise. Just that may have been the best part of the whole thing, on top of, as you said, the complete the video package, or the part of the video where he's dodging the fireworks, or he photoshops himself in with the Judgment Day. It's all just genius.
The ladder with the wooden ladder at that.
Yes, in the women's ladder match. I mean, whoever did this, I don't know who it is, but they need to be getting a big promotion. It was brilliant. So again, I'm watching it after we get off of our call here. But all right, we got then next The Miz and JD McDonough, and this one ended in actually exactly 12 minutes with The Miz beating JD McDonough. Your thoughts?
This was fun. And honestly, I kept watching R-Truth, so I probably should have paid more attention to what was going on in the ring. But he was so fascinating on the outside of the ring, how he, giving Tom and Nick a hard time. Mm-hmm. But I think it just kind of progresses that the quote unquote tension between the Judgment Day and R-Truth as a member. So I know they're tying it up next week with a match between R-Truth and The Miz, and who is it? Is it JD and Dom?
I think it might.
Damien. Because honestly, for a second there, like with Damian laughing and kind of getting tickled, and then when they lost the match and Priest was like, it's got to end. Like, I was like, maybe he's going to kick JD out because he really didn't want JD in to begin with. So I thought maybe he's warming up to R-Truth.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. And I don't know. Honestly, that's why I said I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what this is. I don't know if WWE knows what the end game is with Truth. I think they just kind of caught lightning in a bottle with this chemistry with Truth and with the Judgment Day. And they're just kind of seeing how long they can take it before they say, all right, we got to kind of end this. It's kind of run its course. And eventually I think it will run its course, but I don't even know if they know what the end game is. I don't know. I maybe Truth ends up accidentally screwing Priest with his cash in, where he tries to help Priest with his cash in, but ends up screwing up the whole thing, and that's when it all ends for Truth. I'm not sure, but this has been seeing the judge. He's almost turning Judgment Day almost at times into a babyface group because
yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
because at that moment when Priest was laughing, I was like, oh, Priest! Like it was like for a second I forgot that Damian was the bad guy.
Yeah. I know. I wonder if that, and I saw that and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if that was a legitimate laugh where he couldn't help himself but laugh. And he just pretended that it was, it was part of his character, but in real life, he couldn't help himself and just found it hilarious. I don't know which one, but the fact that he laughed at it, I mean, it doesn't help his heel character because you're like, yeah, that was really damn funny. So I don't know. This is every week is a bright spot in the show. It is. I don't know how much more we can say about it, and hopefully it continues to just be entertaining and Truth continues to deliver. He is. And you know what? I keep saying this, but I really want everyone to really take it to heart. Is that R-Truth, Ron Killings? If you go by and watch, I can't remember the name of the docuseries on WWE Network. There's a docuseries on R-Truth. And it's quick. It's 30, 40 minutes, whatever it is. And it tells you about the life of, where he grew up and his childhood and that kind of thing. It really even will make you like him even more with, the struggles he's gone through and all that kind of stuff. I really would recommend people check it out because it'll not just make you look at Truth as a great comedy character and just fun to watch, but also kind of the human being behind it. So, just a bit of a recommendation, not just for you, Krisy, but like just everybody. It's a good one. So
yeah, I'll have to check it out for sure.
All right. Well, let's see here. So yeah, The Miz beats JD McDonough, as you said. R-Truth showing up at ringside to help Dom and Nick was a lot of fun. Then after the match, Truth helps Dom to his feet, and he was pushed aside, and then he ends up going to the ring to raise the arm of The Miz. So after that, then we get, Seth Rollins coming out, and he said he's never taken a world title to WrestleMania, and he's never been on the marquee, but that's going to change this year, and he's worked too hard and too long, and he took a title that didn't exist a year ago and turned it into the most important prize in the industry, and he recalled saying he would be a fighting champion, a workhorse champion, and that the work isn't done. And then we got Jinder Mahal coming out and interrupting Rollins. So what are your thoughts on this?
First off with Seth, so I am probably one of the few who absolutely, I look forward to seeing what Seth is going to wear. So as a woman who loves fashion, who follows the trends, I'm familiar with designers. I can usually spot what designer he's wearing the moment he walks out. So I find it fascinating. I know people are like, oh my gosh, what has he got on? I love it. I find it fascinating. I actually he works with a stylist. So I follow his stylist on Instagram, and he actually does style Seth and then Becky every now and then, but also Charlotte and Liv Morgan. So it's interesting to see these WWE wrestlers using stylists, and I love it seeing what Seth is going to wear. His outfit this week was pretty tame compared to his other outfits, but I thought this was fun. Jinder has been fun to watch. Even last week when he did get his behind whooped by The Rock, his promo, his mic skills for someone who has been kind of off and on, very much off of TV, it feels like he's picked back up and hasn't missed a beat with how he talks, how like his promos, he draws you in, and I'm interested to see what he says next, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm sure it's going to be short-lived. I know, Seth is probably building up towards something a little bit bigger. But I thought this was a fun promo, and I like Seth entertains me. I find him fun to watch, whether he's being his Joker type character or serious Seth or wearing some SpongeBob looking boots. I like Seth. Seth is fun to watch.
Yeah, and I really do believe he has done a nice job with the World Heavyweight Championship. He has made it a championship you can see every week. He's been the anti-Roman, where, obviously Roman's not there, and Seth has prided himself on, doing the opposite of what Roman Reigns has done. So we have that balance of at least a champion there every week, and it softens the blow a little bit, although not excusable at all for how often Roman Reigns has been absent. But overall, since I think May of 2023, when he won the belt, he's done a very nice job. And I have no issue at all with Mahal. I think Mahal gets a bad rap unfairly. I don't think that Mahal has gotten really the exposure he deserves. And I know he was WWE champion before, and people absolutely hated that. I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did. I don't mind a heel champion that can talk and get the heat that he does. He's from he's a foreigner, so automatically he's hated. That's just the way that wrestling has worked since the dawn of time. And then again, he's got an annoying voice, but also he's in incredible shape, so he can put on good matches. He's got all the tools, and I think Seth Rollins will be a fun opponent for him. As you said, though, very probably short-lived. He's a stopgap. He's a stepping stone, unfortunately, to a bigger end game for Seth, which I think ultimately will be probably CM Punk.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have no issue with this. Mahal will get his championship match and lose, and we'll all move on. But at least for what Mahal will get out of this, just as he did last week, he's going to get his ass kicked. That's what's going to happen with Mahal. But the more important thing for Mahal is that he gets exposure. And getting exposure with 171 million views, even though The Rock is there, people are going to be like, well, who did he beat up?
Yeah.
And if for Mahal, this is nothing but a win. He didn't get any offense in, but who cares? People now may know the name of Jinder Mahal.
Exactly.
So,
I was have to see him again, because how a lot of times when you have those moments with The Rock, it's usually a one-off, and we're not going to see you again. So when his music cut, I was like, oh, okay. He's getting some more TV time. This is great. Like I'm excited for him, because like you said, I think he is a great heel. He looks phenomenal. Like he looks like he is ready to kick some butt. Like he looks great. So I can't wait to see him in the ring with Seth.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it'll be a 5-star match, but I think it'll be a fun match, one that it won't be as fast paced as I think a lot of other matches that Seth has had. I mean, Mahal works at a slower pace, and I'm totally cool with that. Every match doesn't need to be 100 miles an hour. In fact, I prefer it not to be. So I think this will bring a different style of match that we haven't seen from Seth and with Jinder when it happens. I have no issue with this. The only concern is what happens after this for Mahal. I don't know. After he's done kind of playing in the sandbox with these big names, what happens? Does he go back to just being a ghost on the show? Like, well, I don't know. Does he bring in the Indus with, Veer Mahan and Sangha? What happens? I don't know. But I hope this is an introduction to a more consistent presence for Mahal, even though this main event kind of shtick he's in right now is very short-lived, but it's giving him exposure for hopefully something after this all ends. So, all right. Well, then we get Shinsuke Nakamura shown backstage. And before that, though, we get Ivar with Valhalla, who took on Otis, who was with Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. Really quick match here. I don't really have a ton to talk about here with Ivar beating Otis in just under 4 minutes. Did you have really anything to say on Ivar?
He did a cartwheel. Like he's 300 plus pounds, and the man did a cartwheel. I can't even do a cartwheel now, so I was impressed watching them. Like just two big boys who have some agility in the ring. It was fun. It was just a quick little match that was interesting and fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, two super heavyweights that continue to kind of, I feel like, trade wins back and forth. Ivar, I feel like, though, although he isn't really a singles guy in a tag team with the Viking Raiders, has done a nice job over the last couple of months with his tag team partner being out, showing what he can do as a single star. And I really don't have any issue with this. It was fine, is really all I'll say about that. But all right, Jey Uso was then interviewed by Jackie Redmond backstage, and he or she asked if he had any resolutions for the new year, and he said he would win his first ever singles match, singles championship. And Bronson Reed showed up and mocked Jay by calling him Jimmy Uso's little brother, and retold Jay that he's not the only one who has plans of becoming a champion. And Reed told Jay not to get in the way. So any thoughts or really anything you want to add to the Jey Uso Bronson Reed interaction?
It was funny because right after the match with Otis and Ivar ended, I thought, where's Bronson Reed? And literally he popped up with that interrupted that interview with Jey Uso. My thought is, what singles title would he go after? Where is there even a lane for him to go with the singles title, unless he pulls like, a Dom or a Becky and goes to NXT, which at this point, Jay Event is really living up to his name, or, main event Jey Uso. I don't know what singles title makes sense for him right now for him to go after. So I wonder if this Bronson Reed will just hold them over until there is an open window for him to go after a single championship title where it makes sense.
My thought is it's probably the Intercontinental title. I mean, my thinking is booking out to WrestleMania that at some point Gunther's going to lose the IC belt. At this point, he's already the longest reigning champion of all time for the Intercontinental belt. He's done what he can do with the belt. I've loved him as champion. But I think Jey Uso, who has been on fire the last few months in the Yeet movement and all of that, he's ready for a singles championship. And I think you could kill two birds with one stone with Jey Uso, maybe at Elimination Chamber, beating Gunther in some kind of multi-person match, maybe Bronson Reed, who has just declared himself also kind of an enemy of Jay. You have some kind of multi-person match. Jay wins the Intercontinental Championship, and at that point, you could put Gunther in with Brock Lesnar, who has been rumored to be the opponent for Gunther at WrestleMania, because Gunther versus Brock Lesnar for the Intercontinental Championship makes no sense. So you want the title off of Gunther before you do that, and having Jey Uso be the guy to do it would be a great way to bring him into WrestleMania as champion and probably retain at that point. I know I've booked out 3 or 4 steps that don't exist yet, but to me, it seems like it's lining up that way.
Yeah,
it's just my take.
I couldn't even visualize it. So your storyline makes sense.
Don't hold me to it. All right. So, but that's just, no. But all right, let's move on to the actual main event here, and that is Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura. They did a nice video package recapping this feud, and it has been a lot of fun. It's amazing what can be done when you're able to give a star a voice. Even if they don't speak the native tongue very well and they have a heavy accent, there are ways that they found that you can get around it to still communicate with your audience. And they found that magic formula with Shinsuke. They found it when he faced Seth, and now they are finding it again now that he's facing Cody. And I've loved the anime that they've done with it, the delivery by Shinsuke, the backstage segments, the subtitles. It has all been just pinpoint accuracy, really, really nice for Shinsuke. I'm very happy for Shinsuke, who has been, prior to this, not irrelevant, but an afterthought. And now he has come front and center as a dangerous opponent. This match to me was really good. The table spots were fun, as table spots always seem to be a crowd pleaser. Cody wins clean. This to me is the declarative statement to the fans of Cody's now turning the page fully away from Shinsuke Nakamura to the Rumble and focusing on winning.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt at the end of this. I was like, okay, we're done here. Now we're moving on towards the next chapter of his wonderful story. Shinsuke is, gosh, I love watching this man. And I love, like you said, how they've created a way for us to get to know him in his native tongue, and the way that he does it, the way that he delivers his facial expressions, he is so phenomenal to watch when he does those promos. And then in the ring, like your eye is just drawn to the way he moves, the way that he interacts with his opponent. Oh, I love watching this man wrestle. He's really great.
It's amazing how you can resurrect a character by just giving him a voice and giving him a little bit of promo time, a little bit of just called character development. It's amazing. And like you said, that can't be undersold enough is his body language that has done a really nice job of substituting for him not being able to speak like you and I do clearly and be able to communicate with the vast audience, the vast majority of the audience without subtitles. His body language is brilliant. the way that he's attacked his opponents, with the mist and from behind, and all of that has been just a lot of fun. And after this, I mean, I would imagine Shinsuke is going to go back to kind of the mid upper card. He may be a contender for the Intercontinental Championship. I think he could be. I don't think he'll win it because you almost never go from a heel champion to a heel champion. So he could be in the mix, though, and the conversation. In fact, if you're going to do some kind of multi-person match for the IC title at WrestleMania, Shinsuke should absolutely be in the conversation. So that's probably where I'm thinking he'll land, is in that title picture. But he'll be a force to be reckoned with in the Rumble if he's participating. And, I'm not too concerned about Nakamura. But for Cody, this is all about him. With his obsession to finish his story, which is ironically not finishing his story, but rather beginning one, because once he wins, he doesn't just retire. I mean, like, he wins the belt and then, okay, that's a massive chapter, but we're continuing to read the book. So I have no issue with this victory. It moves Cody up. It keeps Shinsuke kind of where he is. And, we're only a couple weeks out for the Rumble, so I had no problem with this.
Yep. Same.
Well, I don't think I had anything else unless you do for Monday Night Raw.
No, I think that's it.
Cool.
It was a good show. It definitely wasn't, Rock coming back, but how can you top that?
Well, that's just it. And honestly, I don't think we're going to see The Rock on Raw again for the Rumble.
So.
Because if he's facing Roman's on SmackDown. So this may be the only appearance on Raw for The Rock throughout all of WrestleMania season. It's possible. So, I mean, not guaranteed, because The Rock could still show up even though Roman's not there, just to see if they're in a big market town. I haven't looked at the cities, but if they're in some kind of massive market and they want The Rock to show up, maybe they'll do that. But for all intents and purposes, that's probably one of very few appearances on Raw for The Rock from now through WrestleMania 40. But I guess one more thing is if there's anything on either show, on either brand, if you wanted to just voice your opinion or chat about quickly, the stage is yours.
Can I say, I'll go to SmackDown, because I'm a big Charlotte fan. She's so phenomenal in the ring. I am very sad for her right now that we left Survivor Series with her literally saying, I'm at the top of my career. I still have a lot left. And then going into WrestleMania season without Charlotte, as a Charlotte fan, makes my stomach hurt. Because, her match with Rhea at Last Mania was one of my favorite matches of the year. And oh gosh, I'm heartbroken that she was injured right before Mania, but it has been, I'm seeing all her posts on Instagram, and I'm rooting for her. I wish she was able to come back before Mania, but I don't think, based on how bad the injury was, that's me being very, very hopeful.
I'm with you, and I know that there's a lot of fans that don't really, and this isn't a slight on the fans. I mean, I sometimes am guilty of this too, is you don't really realize, number one, that there's a real human being behind the character, and that also the struggle of coming back from an injury and doing physical therapy and going through the pain and the emotional pain of, especially this time of year, not being involved in WrestleMania season and having to sit on the sidelines must be absolutely heart-wrenching for her. And I know there's fans, who cares? We just care about the on-air product. I mean, you and I and others probably that listen to wrestling podcasts may feel the same here. Is, I feel awful for Charlotte, as you do. I really do. And it's, yes, her character can be monotonous at times. Do I think she's a better heel than a babyface? Yes. Am I tired of seeing her as champion? At times, yes. But I think she is invaluable to the women's division. Love it or hate it, she just is, and she's a walk-in Hall of Famer right now. If you entered her career, she's already a Hall of Famer. She's been a Hall of Famer for years. So this is devastating for her, devastating for the women's division. And I feel bad for her. But if you guys take a look at her Instagram videos or X videos and her going through the physical therapy, she just had surgery a few days ago. She's walking, but very, very gingerly. But the struggle and pain that she's going through right now, I mean, it's something that I don't think fans really appreciate the way that we should, because we don't often get a look into that part of it. Yeah. And we don't think about it a lot. Is just, they're gone for 8 months and they're out of our minds. But what are they doing in those 8 months? And it's, I think, something that I think a lot of times fans forget.
Yeah. If you're doing what Randy was doing during those 18 months, you're just somehow getting in a time machine and looking better than ever. I don't know.
Or AJ Styles. What are they doing? Where are they going?
Like, what's happening with these comebacks? I'm here for it. I will.
Right. They're getting like Randy Orton at 45 years, however old Randy Orton is, upper 40. He looks like he's 25, spending his last 18 months in a gym and eating raw beef. He's doing steak and eggs every day for every meal. I'm like, what is happening?
And you can tell he's having so much fun in that ring. Like, you can tell that he is not caring about how he's coming across. He's not caring about what his legacy is going to be. He is just having fun, and you can tell when he's in that ring.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And he is he's absolutely doing that because he knows right now he's playing with house money, so to speak. He's already a made man. He doesn't have to really, he doesn't have to kill himself anymore. He has literally made his own legacy. He is a legend. And not just a legend killer, but I would actually say he is a legend, not just a Hall of Famer, but a legend. I would put him in that upper echelon of stars for being around as long as he has, still being able to not miss a step. I mean, you watch him now and you're like, this dude looks like he's just, came out of OVW. He's unbelievable. He hasn't aged at all. It's like Rey Mysterio. So,
Ray is as old as he is when he's in the ring. Like, I always forget. I'm like, Ray has a grown child.
I know.
Multiple grown children who also
he has Dom and Nick. Yeah. So he has two. I mean, so think about that. This is it's really crazy. Like you said, there's some time machine that WWE was able to produce or create, and it's really kind of crazy. I saw him at the Survivor Series event when he returned, and everyone was just like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, he walked out, and I was like, "Okay, Randy."
Yeah, I know. It made a lot of women bug-eyed, and they're just like,
hot.
I know, right? He almost had a Brock Lesnar look to him if you just took the head out. Like he looked like that kind of muscular, his physique. And I give Randy all the credit in the world. And I know there's people saying, "Oh, he's doing steroids." No, he's not. No, okay. If you're doing steroids in this day and age in WWE with their wellness policy and all the media that would come out with it, you're a fool. There's it's not happening.
18 months is a long time where you're not on the road. He had the time to heal himself, be in the gym. Like, 18 months is a long time to completely transform your body. And he did that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he did. And I give him all the credit in the world to go from, well, he was already in shape, but to add as much muscle as he did and even trim a little more fat off him. I mean, he literally must have been eating and breathing and sticking to a very regimented diet. I give him all the credit in the world. That is really tough to do. So, and same with AJ Styles, who came back and prescribed to the Randy Orton school of, weight loss. I mean, I don't know what he did, but they're in the same boat here. It's just, I don't know what's going on, but, all right. Well, I guess that'll end things here, but, Krisy, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, don't forget, check out her podcast that she has as well. It's the Wedding Planner Podcast, available everywhere you get podcasts. And do you have any final closing thoughts?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I don't have a lot of friends who are wrestling fans, so I never get to talk to anyone about wrestling. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. And it is kind of funny you mentioned that. There are millions of fans across the world, but somehow all of us wrestling fans feel so isolated because none of us have any friends. Somehow we don't have any friends that like wrestling except ourselves. It's amazing. But come WrestleMania season, it's more socially acceptable to be a wrestling fan. And so you see kind of those people that are fringe fans poke their heads back in and go, "Huh, what's going on? Oh, The Rock's back. Cool. I'm suddenly a wrestling fan for one night." I mean, we all know those fans, but I hear you. We're very isolated. We're a very isolated people. I understand. So, well, very good. Thank you so much, Krisy. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll definitely be talking again.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Take care.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.